What if I told you that there's a force so powerful, so deeply embedded in our existence, that it has shaped our reality without most of us ever realizing it? A celestial body whose influence reaches beyond the stars, weaving itself into the very fabric of our society. Its name is Saturn, but this is not just about a planet orbiting far away in the vastness of space. Saturn is more than a giant sphere of gas with rings. It is a symbol, a representation of control, limitation, and boundaries. It governs time, rules, and authority, but not in ways that are obvious. Its grip is subtle, hidden in plain sight, and yet it affects every single one of us. From the moment you wake up to the sound of your alarm, dictated by the clock on your wall, to the moment you fall asleep, exhausted from running the rat race, you are under its influence. Saturn's shadow looms over the systems we live by, the structures we adhere to, and the rules we obey without question. Its power is not only celestial but cultural, deeply rooted in the foundations of our society. You pay taxes, follow laws, and abide by contracts. But have you ever stopped to wonder who created these rules and why you follow them? The truth is, most of these systems are not designed for your benefit. They are designed to control you. Everywhere you look, the influence of Saturn is there, from the legal language that binds you to contracts you didn't fully understand, to the symbols on corporate logos and government seals. Even the idea of time itself, a construct we measure, track, and obey, is an extension of Saturn's domain. But how did we get here? How did a planet come to represent control and authority over every aspect of our lives? These aren't random connections or poetic metaphors. They are deliberate, carefully crafted systems that have been perfected over centuries to maintain order, hierarchy, and submission. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. This system works because you consent to it. Not knowingly, but through silent compliance. Every time you sign a form, register a name, or agree to terms and conditions without reading them, you are participating in this system of control. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could see through the veil, understand how this hidden force operates, and reclaim your autonomy? In this video, we will uncover the truth about Saturn's influence, exploring its ancient origins, its role in shaping our modern world, and the tools it uses to maintain its grip on humanity. Stay with us until the end, because what you'll learn today could change the way you see your life and the world around you. This is more than just a video. It's an invitation to wake up, to question, and to take back the control you never realized you gave away. Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has looked to the stars for answers. Among the countless celestial bodies, Saturn has always stood apart. It was not just another planet in the night sky. It was a symbol, a god, a force of nature that demanded reverence. To the ancients, Saturn was more than a point of light. It was Kronos to the Greeks, the god of time, devouring his own children to preserve his power. To the Romans, he was Saturnus, the god of agriculture, wealth, and limitations. His name was whispered in rituals, his symbol etched into the architecture, and his influence felt in every corner of life. Ancient festivals like Saturnalia celebrated the power of Saturn, but they did so through inversion. Roles were reversed. Slaves became masters, and masters served slaves. Chaos reigned for a brief time before the return to order. This ritual was not just about merriment. It was about reinforcing the cycles of control and submission. The ancient world understood Saturn as a force of boundaries, cycles, and restrictions. Time, after all, is the ultimate limitation. It binds everything in this world. It ensures that nothing lasts forever. Civilizations rise and fall under the watchful eye of Saturn, the keeper of time's relentless march. But Saturn's influence did not fade with the fall of these ancient empires. It transformed. It seeped into the foundations of new systems, hidden in symbols, language, and laws. The hexagonal storm at Saturn's pole became a metaphor for the structures of control on Earth. 6 sides, 6 points, a perfect geometric shape that mirrored the hexagrams and cubes found in sacred geometry. The ancients believed geometry was not just a tool for building, it was a tool for control. The hexagon represented balance, order, and limitation, the very principles Saturn embodied. Over time, these principles found their way into architecture, religion, and governance. Look at the structures around you. Obelisks rise toward the heavens, their sharp lines a reminder of Saturn's rigid authority. The black cube, another symbol tied to Saturn, appears in religious and corporate contexts alike. These symbols are not decorative. They are deliberate. They reinforce the energy of control, boundaries, and submission that Saturn represents. Even the rings of Saturn, beautiful and hypnotic, are a perfect metaphor for restriction. They encircle the planet like chains, a cosmic reminder that nothing escapes its orbit without a struggle. Saturn's influence extends far beyond symbols. It infiltrates the systems we depend on, shaping the very fabric of society. The concept of time, for instance, is a construct rooted in Saturnian principles. Calendars divide our lives into cycles, weeks, months, and years. The 7-day week is tied to the 7 classical planets, with Saturday standing as Saturn's day. Time governs everything we do. It dictates when we work, when we rest, and when we die. We measure our lives in hours, minutes, and seconds, never questioning who created this system or why we follow it so faithfully. But Saturn's reach doesn't stop there. It is deeply embedded in language, the very tool we use to shape our reality. Words like chronology and chronicle trace their origins to Chronos, Saturn's Greek counterpart. Even the word capital, as in capital cities or capital wealth, carries Saturnian energy. It comes from caput, meaning head, a term tied to authority and control. This language is not accidental. It is a web that binds us, reinforcing the systems Saturn symbolizes. The financial world is another realm where Saturn's legacy looms large. Banks, institutions of control and limitation, operate like rivers guiding the flow of money. The term bank itself originates from the banks of a river, dictating its course. Money is described as liquid, assets as frozen, debts as drowning individuals in an ocean of obligation. These metaphors are not mere coincidences. They are a reflection of Saturn's energy, shaping the way we perceive wealth and value. Saturn's control extends to governance and law, where its influence is perhaps most visible. Courtrooms, for example, are steeped in Saturnian symbolism. The judge, elevated above everyone else, mirrors Saturn's authority as the arbiter of boundaries and rules. The dock, where the accused stands, originates from maritime law, a system rooted in the control of commerce and trade. Even the gold fringe on flags in courtrooms is said to symbolize maritime jurisdiction, a Saturnian framework brought from the seas to the land. Throughout history, rulers and elites have harnessed Saturn's energy to maintain their grip on power. They understood that control is most effective when it is subtle, when it hides in plain sight. The rings of Saturn are not just physical, they are symbolic of the boundaries placed around humanity. These boundaries are reinforced by laws, rituals, and systems that keep us tethered to a reality of limitation. The more we comply, the tighter these rings become. But Saturn's influence is not inherently evil. It is a force of structure, discipline, and focus. Without it, chaos would reign. Yet, when left unchecked, this energy becomes oppressive. It turns from a tool of order into a weapon of control. This duality is what makes Saturn so powerful. It can build civilizations, but it can also enslave them. Understanding this duality is the first step to breaking free from its grip. The truth is that Saturn's legacy is all around us. It shapes our governments, our economies, and even our beliefs. It is the silent force behind the systems we live by, unseen, but ever present. Its symbols are hidden in plain sight. waiting for those who are willing to look. Once you see them, you can't unsee them. Once you understand Saturn's influence, you begin to see the world for what it truly is, a carefully constructed system of control. This is why Saturn has been both revered and feared throughout history. It is the planet of karma, the enforcer of boundaries, the teacher of hard lessons. Its energy demands discipline, but it also demands conformity. Those who challenge it face resistance, but those who understand it can use its power to their advantage. Saturn is not just a planet, it is a mirror, reflecting the structures we create and the limitations we impose on ourselves. The question is not whether Saturn controls us, but whether we are willing to see how deep its influence goes. This is the legacy of Saturn, a force that has shaped humanity for millennia, guiding us with one hand and restraining us with the other. To understand Saturn is to understand the systems that govern our lives, and to see the potential for breaking free from their grasp. But that journey begins with awareness, and awareness starts with a willingness to look beyond the surface. Saturn's legacy is not hidden. It is waiting for you to discover it. From the moment you are born, you are introduced into a system designed to control every aspect of your life. This control is not enforced through physical chains or visible barriers, but through invisible structures rooted in the influence of Saturn. Its principles, authority, limitation, and regulation, are deeply embedded in the very systems we depend on: government, finance, law, and even the concept of time itself. Saturn's energy is not just a cosmic force, but a terrestrial one, woven into the fabric of society in ways that most people never notice. One of the clearest examples of Saturn's influence is the legal system. Step into any courtroom, and you'll see the symbols of authority and control everywhere. The judge, elevated above everyone else, presides over the proceedings like a captain on the bridge of a ship. The dock, where defendants stand, originates from maritime law, which governs trade and commerce on the seas. These symbols are not arbitrary. They are deliberate, reminding you of your position within a hierarchy where authority flows from the top down. The gold fringe on flags inside courtrooms, often dismissed as decoration, signifies maritime jurisdiction, linking modern law to ancient systems of trade and control. But the control doesn't stop at the courtroom. Consider your name. On your birth certificate, driver's license, and government documents, your name is written in all capital letters. This is not a mistake. It represents your legal fiction, a corporate entity created by the system to interact with the world of commerce. This entity, often referred to as the straw man, is separate from you as a living, breathing human being. Under the rules of maritime law, this distinction allows the system to treat you as an asset, a resource to be tracked, taxed, and controlled. The mere act of using this legal name binds you to the system, often without your knowledge or consent. The financial system is another area where Saturn's control is undeniable. Banks, the very institutions that manage the flow of money, operate on principles deeply tied to Saturn's symbolism. The word bank itself originates from the banks of a river, guiding the flow of water, just as financial institutions guide the flow of currency. Money is described as liquid, assets as frozen, and debt as drowning individuals in obligations. These metaphors are not coincidental. They reflect a system designed to create dependence, where individuals are perpetually bound by loans, mortgages, and credit. The word mortgage, meaning death pledge, underscores the Saturnian nature of financial agreements, where obligations end only with payment or death. Even the concept of time is a tool of control. Saturn, as the god of time, governs the structure of our daily lives. The 7-day week, tied to the 7 classical planets, places Saturday as Saturn's day, a reminder of the planet's dominion. Calendars, clocks, and schedules dictate our actions, ensuring that we remain productive, compliant, and tethered to the system. Time, measured in hours, minutes, and seconds, becomes a currency in itself. You spend time, save time, and run out of time, always working within the boundaries imposed by this invisible force. The relentless march of time is a Saturnian construct, ensuring that nothing is permanent and everything is finite. Language itself is another tool of control, shaping the way we think and perceive the world. Words like authority, limitation, and restriction carry the energy of Saturn, reinforcing the structures that govern society. Even everyday phrases reflect this influence. When you are in trouble, you are in hot water. When you face financial hardship, you are underwater. When a company fails, it is said to have sunk. These metaphors tie back to maritime law, where ships and cargo represented commerce and wealth. The language we use is not random. It is a reflection of the systems that control us, subtly reinforcing the boundaries within which we operate. Corporate symbols and architecture further reveal Saturn's influence. The black cube, a representation of Saturn's energy, appears in logos, buildings, and monuments around the world. These structures are not merely decorative, they are intentional, anchoring the energy of control and limitation into the physical world. Obelisks, towering and sharp, point to the heavens as symbols of authority and power. These designs are rooted in sacred geometry, a Saturnian concept that uses mathematical precision to create balance and structure. The very cities we live in are built around these principles, with grids, lines, and boundaries dictating movement and space. Saturn's control extends into the digital realm as well. Social media, entertainment, and news are tools that keep people distracted, divided, and compliant. The endless scroll of curated content feeds a cycle of dependence, ensuring that individuals remain focused on superficial concerns rather than questioning the deeper systems at play. This digital prison is invisible but effective, reinforcing the boundaries of thought and behavior without the need for physical enforcement. The algorithms that dictate what you see and how you interact online are modern manifestations of Saturn's influence, maintaining order in a chaotic and ever-changing digital landscape. The education system is yet another reflection of Saturn's principles. From a young age, children are taught to follow rules, respect authority, and conform to societal norms. Schools operate on rigid schedules, mirroring the structure of the workday, preparing students to transition seamlessly into a system of labor and compliance. Creativity and individuality are often discouraged in favor of standardized testing and uniformity, ensuring that the next generation remains within the boundaries of control. This system is not designed to empower, it is designed to maintain order. Even religion carries the marks of Saturn's influence. The concept of sin, punishment, and redemption mirrors the planet's association with karma, limitation, and hard lessons. Saturn is often depicted as the stern teacher, enforcing rules and ensuring that actions have consequences. This energy permeates religious practices, rituals, and beliefs, reinforcing the idea that life is a series of tests and trials within a framework of divine authority. The systems of control that govern our lives are not broken. They are functioning exactly as they were designed to. They operate on the principles of Saturn, ensuring that boundaries are maintained, authority is respected, and order is preserved. These systems thrive on compliance and consent, often gained through ignorance and distraction. By keeping individuals focused on survival, consumption, and entertainment, the system ensures that few ever question its true nature. But understanding how these systems operate is the first step to breaking free. Recognizing the symbols, language, and structures that bind you allows you to see the world as it truly is, a carefully constructed framework of control. Saturn's energy, while powerful, is not inherently negative. It can be a force of discipline, focus, and growth. But when wielded without balance, it becomes oppressive, stifling creativity and freedom. The question is not whether you are part of this system, but whether you are willing to see it for what it is. Saturn's influence is all around you, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be recognized. Once you begin to see the patterns, the symbols, and the language of control, you can start to reclaim your autonomy. The power to break free lies not in rejecting Saturn's energy, but in understanding it, using it as a tool for personal growth, rather than a mechanism of oppression. The systems we live in are not unchangeable. They are human constructs, and as such they can be reimagined, reshaped, and redefined. The key is awareness, and with that awareness comes the possibility of true freedom. Every system in society, from the laws we follow to the structures we live within, reflects the influence of Saturn. It is a planet of order, boundaries, and limitations, but its presence extends far beyond the cosmos. Saturn is woven into the very fabric of how we function as a civilization, controlling not just our actions, but also our perceptions. Its influence hides in plain sight, embedded in symbols, rituals, and systems that dictate how we live, often without our consent or understanding. The legal system is one of the clearest examples of Saturnian control. When you step into a courtroom, everything about the environment signals hierarchy and authority. The judge sits elevated, symbolizing the pinnacle of power, a direct reflection of Saturn's association with control. The dock, where defendants stand, originates from maritime law, a system historically tied to commerce and trade. Maritime law was designed to govern ships and cargo on the high seas, but over centuries, it crept onto land, influencing modern legal practices. The gold fringe on flags in courtrooms is not decorative. It signifies admiralty jurisdiction, tying the proceedings back to the principles of maritime law. Every detail, from the language used to the layout of the courtroom, serves as a reminder that you are navigating a system of rules and restrictions rooted in Saturn's energy. Your interaction with this system begins at birth, with the creation of your legal identity. Your birth certificate, printed on bond paper, represents more than a record of your existence. It is the foundation of your legal fiction, a corporate entity separate from your living self. This entity, often referred to as your straw man, allows the system to treat you as an asset, a resource to be tracked, taxed, and controlled. The use of all capital letters in your name on official documents is not arbitrary. It signifies this legal fiction, binding you to a framework of commerce where you are not seen as a person, but as property within the system. This distinction is a cornerstone of Saturnian control, transforming individuals into assets of the state. The financial system operates on similar principles, deeply tied to Saturn's energy. Banks, the institutions that govern the flow of money, derive their name from the banks of a river, guiding its current. Money itself is described as liquid, moving like water with assets frozen and debts drowning individuals in obligations. These metaphors are not accidental. They reflect a system designed to create dependence, where individuals are perpetually bound by loans, mortgages, and credit. The term mortgage, meaning death pledge, underscores the binding nature of financial agreements, where liberation comes only through payment or death. This system thrives on cycles of debt and repayment, ensuring that most people remain tethered to its structures throughout their lives. Time is another tool of control, and it is Saturn's domain. Known as the god of time in mythology, Saturn's influence governs how we structure our days, weeks, and years. The 7-day week, tied to the 7 classical planets, places Saturday as Saturn's day, a symbol of the planet's authority. Calendars dictate our schedules, dividing our lives into measurable units that ensure productivity and compliance. Time becomes a currency of its own, spent, saved, and lost, always within the boundaries of a system designed to manage our existence. This relentless march of time reinforces Saturn's energy of limitation, reminding us that everything is finite and that we are always operating within constraints. Even language, the tool we use to communicate and define our reality, is shaped by Saturn's influence. Words carry power, and many of them reflect the principles of control, boundaries, and order. Terms like obligation, authority, and restriction are rooted in Saturnian energy, reinforcing the structures that govern society. Everyday phrases expose this influence further. When someone faces difficulties, they are said to be in hot water. When financial struggles overwhelm them, they are underwater. These metaphors tie back to the language of maritime law, where ships and cargo represented wealth and commerce. The words we use shape how we think, often binding us to the systems they describe without us even realizing it. Saturn symbols appear everywhere, especially in corporate logos and architecture. The black cube, a representation of Saturn's energy, is a recurring motif in religious and commercial contexts. This geometric shape embodies limitation, discipline, and control, anchoring Saturn's influence into the physical world. Obelisks, towering and sharp, point to the heavens as symbols of authority and power, reinforcing hierarchical structures. These designs are not coincidental. They are intentional, reflecting the principles of sacred geometry, which Saturn governs. Cities themselves are constructed with these principles, their grids and boundaries dictating movement in space, ensuring order and compliance. In the digital age, Saturn's control has taken on new forms. Social media, entertainment, and news act as tools to distract, divide, and manipulate. The endless scroll of curated content keeps individuals focused on superficial matters, preventing them from questioning deeper systems of control. Algorithms decide what we see, shaping our perceptions and reinforcing boundaries of thought. This digital prison is invisible but highly effective, a modern manifestation of Saturn's energy that ensures compliance and distraction in an ever-connected world. The education system reflects Saturn's principles as well. From an early age, children are introduced to rigid schedules, rules, and hierarchies that prepare them for life within a structured society. Schools emphasize conformity over creativity, focusing on standardized testing and obedience to authority. This system is not designed to empower individuals, but to prepare them for roles within a larger framework of control. It ensures that each generation remains within the boundaries of Saturn's influence, perpetuating cycles of compliance and limitation. Religious institutions also bear Saturn's mark. Many religious practices and beliefs mirror the planet's association with discipline, karma, and consequences. The concept of sin and redemption reflects Saturn's role as a stern teacher, enforcing rules and ensuring that actions have repercussions. Rituals and symbols often incorporate Saturnian geometry and principles, further embedding its influence into spiritual practices. These systems of control are not broken. They function precisely as intended, maintaining order and hierarchy while ensuring compliance. They thrive on ignorance and consent, often obtained through distraction and manipulation. By keeping individuals focused on survival, consumption, and superficial concerns, the system prevents them from questioning its true nature. Saturn's energy, while powerful, is not inherently negative. It can be a force for growth, discipline, and transformation. But when wielded without balance, it becomes oppressive, stifling freedom and creativity. Understanding how these systems operate is the first step to breaking free. Recognizing the symbols, language, and structures that bind you allows you to see the world as it truly is, a carefully constructed framework of control. Saturn's energy, while pervasive, is not unchangeable. It is a tool, and like any tool, its effects depend on how it is used. Awareness of its influence provides an opportunity to reclaim autonomy and challenge the boundaries imposed upon us. The question is not whether Saturn controls us, but whether we are willing to see it. Once you recognize its presence in the systems that shape your life, you can begin to navigate them with intention. The systems of control are powerful, but they are not absolute. They rely on consent, and with awareness, you can choose how to engage with them. Saturn's influence is a reflection of humanity's own structures and limitations. By understanding these forces, you gain the power to transcend them. The key lies in awareness, and awareness begins with seeing the patterns that have always been there, waiting for you to notice. Saturn's influence surrounds you, shaping your world in ways that often go unnoticed. Its power lies not in physical chains, but in the invisible systems that govern your life. From the legal structures you adhere to the financial obligations you cannot escape, Saturn's grip is subtle but strong. Yet this power only exists because of consent, even if that consent is given unknowingly. The good news is that once you see the mechanisms at play, you can begin to break free. Knowledge, awareness, and action are the keys to dismantling Saturn's power over you. The first step in breaking free is recognizing the symbols of control that surround you. These symbols are not random. They are deliberate markers of Saturnian influence, hiding in plain sight. The black cube is one of the most prominent symbols tied to Saturn. It appears in religious rituals, corporate logos, and even architectural designs. The cube represents boundaries, discipline, and containment, core principles of Saturn's energy. By acknowledging these symbols, you can begin to dismantle their psychological hold. They are reminders of the systems in place, but they are only as powerful as the meaning you assign to them. Language is another tool of Saturn's control, shaping how you perceive the world and your role within it. Everyday phrases reveal the depth of this influence. When you say you are in debt or running out of time, you are reinforcing ideas of scarcity and limitation. Even the word contract ties back to Saturnian principles. It originates from contractus, meaning to bind or draw together. Every contract you sign is an agreement to operate within a set of predefined rules. But contracts are not just legal documents. They are also verbal agreements, unspoken norms, and societal expectations. Recognizing this allows you to question the agreements you have made, knowingly or not. One of Saturn's most powerful tools is time. From the moment you wake up to the sound of an alarm clock, your day is dictated by schedules and deadlines. Time, as a concept, is a construct that reinforces Saturn's energy of limitation. You measure your life in hours, days, and years, always feeling as though there is not enough. This creates a cycle of scarcity, where you are constantly racing against the clock. Breaking free from this requires a shift in perspective. Time is a tool, not a master. When you stop seeing it as an enemy and start using it intentionally, you reclaim a sense of control over your life. The financial system is another arena where Saturn's influence is deeply embedded. Debt, interest, and taxes are tools of control designed to keep you tethered to the system. The word mortgage, meaning death pledge, exemplifies this. It is a financial agreement that binds you until it is paid in full or you pass away. But the power of these agreements lies in their ability to create dependency. By understanding the mechanics of money, you can begin to free yourself from its grip. This might mean reducing debt, questioning financial norms, or exploring alternative systems of exchange. The less reliant you are on the traditional financial system, the less control it has over you. Another crucial step is recognizing how consent is obtained. The systems of control rely on your participation, but often that participation is given without full awareness. When you sign a contract, agree to terms and conditions, or even use your legal name, you are consenting to operate within the framework of the system. This does not mean you should avoid participation entirely, but it does mean you should do so consciously. Understanding the implications of your actions allows you to make informed choices and reclaim your autonomy. Saturn's influence also extends into the realm of emotion. Fear, in particular, is a powerful tool of control. It keeps you focused on survival, limiting your ability to think critically or act freely. The media plays a significant role in perpetuating this fear. bombarding you with stories of crisis, conflict, and scarcity. This constant stream of negative information reinforces a Saturnian mindset, where limitations and boundaries feel insurmountable. To break free, you must take control of your emotional state. This might mean limiting your exposure to fear-driven media, practicing mindfulness, or seeking out positive, empowering narratives. When you refuse to let fear dictate your actions, you weaken Saturn's grip on your mind. Understanding the concept of vibration is another way to dismantle Saturn's control. Everything in the universe operates on a frequency, including your thoughts and emotions. Saturn's energy is often associated with lower vibrations tied to fear, scarcity, and limitation. By raising your vibration, you shift out of alignment with these energies. Practices like meditation, gratitude, and spending time in nature can help elevate your frequency. When you operate at a higher vibration, you become less susceptible to the systems of control that thrive on lower energies. Saturn's power is also rooted in structure, discipline, and order. While these qualities can be oppressive when imposed externally, they can be empowering when harnessed internally. Discipline, for example, can be a tool for personal growth and freedom. By creating your own structures and routines, you take control of your life rather than letting external systems dictate your actions. This might involve setting boundaries, prioritizing your time, or developing habits that align with your goals. When you create your own framework, you transform Saturn's energy from a force of oppression into a tool of empowerment. Breaking down Saturn's power also involves questioning authority. Saturn is often associated with hierarchy and governance, but not all authority is legitimate. Many systems rely on the illusion of authority to maintain control. By questioning the legitimacy of these systems, you begin to see their vulnerabilities. This does not mean rejecting all forms of leadership, but rather discerning which authorities align with your values and which do not. True authority comes from within, and reclaiming your personal power requires recognizing that you are your own highest authority. Symbols, language, and systems of control are only as powerful as the belief you place in them. Saturn's influence thrives on ignorance and compliance, but once you see the mechanisms at play, they lose their power. Awareness is the first step, but action is what creates change. This might mean challenging societal norms, breaking free from toxic patterns, or simply choosing to live intentionally. Every small act of defiance weakens the system and strengthens your autonomy. Saturn's power is not inherently negative. It represents boundaries, structure, and discipline, all of which can be valuable tools. But when these qualities are imposed externally, they become instruments of control. By internalizing these principles and using them intentionally, you can turn Saturn's energy into a force for growth and transformation. The systems that surround you are not unchangeable. They are constructs, and like any construct, they can be deconstructed and rebuilt. The journey to breaking free from Saturn's influence is not about rejecting its energy, but about understanding and reclaiming it. Saturn's lessons are about responsibility, accountability, and mastery. When you take ownership of your life, you no longer need external systems to impose boundaries. You create your own. This is the ultimate form of freedom, where you operate not as a subject of Saturn's control, but as a master of its energy. Breaking free from Saturn's power is not a single act, but an ongoing process. It requires vigilance, awareness, and a willingness to question everything you have been taught. It is about recognizing the invisible structures that shape your reality and choosing to engage with them consciously. Saturn's influence is pervasive, but it is not absolute. The power to transcend it lies within you. Once you understand the mechanisms of control, you can begin to dismantle them, piece by piece, reclaiming your autonomy and creating a life that aligns with your true self. The systems of control that govern our lives are designed to feel inevitable, as if they are the natural order of the world. But what if they aren't? What if these systems are carefully constructed frameworks, feeding off our compliance and consent. Breaking free from their grip doesn't mean rejecting the structure altogether. It means reclaiming control over how you engage with it. Saturn's influence, rooted in discipline and boundaries, can be transformed into a source of empowerment rather than oppression. The key lies in awareness, intention, and action. The first step to reclaiming your freedom is recognizing the invisible chains that bind you. These chains are not made of metal. They are made of ideas, beliefs, and patterns of behavior reinforced over generations. By understanding the mechanisms of control, you begin to see the cracks in the system. Symbols that once felt benign, like the black cube or the rings of Saturn, are revealed as tools of psychological influence. Contracts, taxes, licenses, and even your name written in all capital letters are part of a web that ties you to a framework of commerce and authority. Awareness is the beginning of liberation. Once you see these patterns, you can no longer unsee them. Empowering yourself means questioning the narratives you've been taught. Why do you work the hours you do? Why do you measure success in terms of money and possessions? Why do you follow rules that don't serve your best interests? These questions are not acts of rebellion, but acts of self-discovery. The answers often reveal that many aspects of your life have been shaped by systems that prioritize control over individual freedom. When you begin to ask why, you start to untangle yourself from these systems and reclaim your autonomy. Another crucial step is reclaiming control over your time. Time is Saturn's domain, a tool of limitation and productivity. But time is also a resource, and how you use it determines the quality of your life. Instead of allowing your schedule to be dictated by external demands, take ownership of your time. Create routines that serve your goals, not just those of your employer or society. Spend time in activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. When you prioritize your own well-being, you begin to shift from being a subject of time to a master of it. Financial freedom is another cornerstone of reclaiming your autonomy. The financial system thrives on dependency, encouraging you to take on debt and remain tethered to obligations that benefit the system more than they benefit you. Breaking free from this cycle requires a conscious effort to reduce debt, question financial norms, and explore alternatives. This might mean simplifying your lifestyle, saving more intentionally, or participating in systems of exchange that prioritize community and sustainability over profit. When you are less dependent on the financial system, you are less subject to its control. Raising your vibration is a powerful way to disrupt the lower frequencies that reinforce fear, scarcity, and limitation. Saturn's influence is often associated with these lower states, but you can elevate yourself by focusing on love, gratitude, and abundance. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and spending time in nature help shift your energy. When you operate at a higher vibration, you become less susceptible to the systems that thrive on fear and conformity. Your thoughts create your reality, and by cultivating positive, empowering thoughts, you begin to reshape the world around you. Reclaiming your freedom also means building resilience against the distractions and manipulations of modern society. Social media, news, and entertainment are powerful tools used to control your attention. These platforms are designed to keep you focused on the superficial, preventing you from looking deeper into the structures that govern your life. Taking control of your attention is a revolutionary act. Turn off notifications, limit your time on social media, and choose carefully what information you consume. Fill your mind with content that inspires and educates, rather than content that distracts and disempowers. The less attention you give to the systems of control, the weaker their hold on you becomes. Community is another essential element of empowerment. The systems of control thrive on isolation, dividing people and keeping them disconnected. By building strong, supportive communities, you create networks of mutual aid and resilience. These communities can share resources, skills, and knowledge, making you less reliant on external systems. They also provide a space for collective questioning and growth, amplifying the power of individual awakening. When people come together with shared intentions, they become a force that is difficult to control. One of the most important aspects of reclaiming your freedom is understanding the power of choice. Every day you make countless choices: what to eat, where to go, how to spend your time. Many of these choices feel automatic, guided by habits or external expectations. But when you pause to consider your choices consciously, you begin to see where you have the power to make different decisions. Choose to act in alignment with your values, even if it means going against the grain. Choose to prioritize what matters to you rather than what the system says should matter. Each conscious choice is a step toward reclaiming your autonomy. Saturn's energy is not inherently negative. It represents discipline, focus, and structure, qualities that can be incredibly empowering when applied intentionally. Instead of rejecting Saturn's influence, you can harness it to build a life that aligns with your true self. Use its principles to create boundaries that protect your time and energy. Use its lessons to cultivate discipline and achieve your goals. By internalizing Saturn's energy, you transform it from a force of external control into a tool for personal growth and freedom. Empowerment is not a single moment of liberation, but a continuous process of self-discovery and action. It is about recognizing the systems that shape your life and choosing how to engage with them. It is about reclaiming control over your time, energy, and choices. It is about building a life that reflects your values and aspirations rather than the expectations imposed by others. Saturn's power over you diminishes as your awareness and intentionality grow. The systems of control rely on your compliance, but the moment you begin to question, they begin to lose their grip. Your freedom has always been within you. It is not something to be given or taken. It is something to be claimed. The question is not whether you can reclaim your freedom, but whether you will choose to. Saturn's influence is vast, but it is not absolute. Its energy of control, boundaries, and discipline has shaped the systems we live by, yet those same systems only hold power because we allow them to. The symbols, language, and frameworks of Saturn are not invincible. They are constructs, and like all constructs, they can be understood, challenged, and redefined. The path to freedom begins with awareness. When you see the patterns, the invisible chains start to dissolve. When you question the systems, their grip weakens. And when you take intentional action, you reclaim the power that has always been yours. Saturn is a teacher, as much as it is a force of limitation. Its lessons are not about submission, but about mastery. Mastery of your time, your energy, and your choices. By understanding the mechanisms of control, you can use Saturn's energy as a tool for growth, rather than a source of oppression. The systems around you do not define you. Your potential lies beyond the boundaries they impose. If this message resonated with you, let us know. Like this video, share it with others, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights that challenge the way you see the world. Your journey to freedom starts now.